And these last 6 months have been pretty freaking hectic. Like, things have changed dramatically. It's always so weird to introduce yourself. But I'm Susan. I have had eczema for 10 years. And over the last 6 months, after dilly-dallying with a bunch of diets and lifestyle practices and, gluten-free, paleo, all these things, the last 2 years, in the last 6 months, I really dedicated myself to a very specific way of eating and a way of life. I do a whole foods plant-based diet, no oils, no alcohol, no caffeine. I still enjoy food, and I do a lot more exercise. I do a lot more stretching and yoga. I do dry brushing and other cleansing. And these last 6 months have been pretty freaking hectic. Like, things have changed dramatically. Things that have changed that have never used to be things that would change in the past, if that makes sense. So, I'm at month 6, and last night I was just very distraught. I was in a world of despair. Basically, to sum up what every single night for me is like, is I go to bed at like between 10 and 12, and there's just scratch fest. Whether I pray for no scratching or not, whether I lotion up or not, whether I've dry brushed or taken a shower, whatever the circumstances, I always have a scratching fit somewhere between 12 and 3 a.m. No fail. And yesterday it happened to be right when I went to bed at like 12 o'clock. Like, I didn't even have a chance to close my eyes, and I was just scratching. I was off to the races. And I turned on my light and I look at my bed sheet, and it's just a mountain of snow everywhere. And the thing is that, yeah, it's kind of gross. You're sitting in your own skin. But what's worse is that I'm just tearing up my own skin, and I don't have a say in not feeling this way. Some people can wake up the next morning and say, you know what, I don't want to feel horrible anymore. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to change my relationship. I'm going to change my job. I can't say that with eczema. And lots of people with sort of like diseases and skin disorders and other disorders, they can't just wake up and say, I don't want this anymore. So I've taken my part to be active and to turn this around and make sure that for my future, years down the line, that I don't have to deal with this. So what I'm trying to do is heal from the inside out. So I don't know if I can make these videos every single week, but I'm at the 6-month mark, like I said, and I'd like to see my progression over the next 6 months, because I think, I'm sort of at the halfway point, or maybe the 1/3 point, or I don't know, maybe it's another year. That would be the 1/3 point. But I think in the next 6 months, it's going to be all downhill. If not downhill, but things get better, because these last 6 months have been building up to some really bad eczema. So what I've noticed is that there's a lot more flaking, there's a lot more itching, there's a lot more eczema every single place. Like, I've never used to have it on my hands. I used to have it on my fingers, but that healed up like beautifully. Like, I used to have it just like everywhere. Like, I could not function, couldn't tie a shoe, couldn't make a fist, I couldn't do anything. So that's a positive thing. Negative is I got it on my face, and never used to have that 6 months, 1 year ago. So one of the biggest things I've noticed in these last 6 months is that things have become very dynamic. It used to be very static. I used to have a flare-up, and it wouldn't die down for a very long time, and then it would get slightly worse, and then it wouldn't die down, and then it would stay plateaued. So things wouldn't change. But nowadays, I'll have a flare-up for like 1 to 2 weeks, and then things will start clearing up. I'll have a flare-up for 3 or 4 days, and then things will start clearing up. I'll have a really bad day, and then in the evening, really bad evening, and I'll wake up in the morning, and the rest of the day, things are great. So things don't clear up overnight, but they get better a lot quicker, and they don't stay as bad as long. So that's how I take what I'm doing as a positive, that things are changing. So I look forward to, these next few weeks, just documenting how I feel, throwing up a couple of pictures, and I want to see in 6 months where my journey takes me, because I think this is going to be incremental change. I can't make videos every day because things don't change every day. I can make videos maybe once a week because things do change once a week. So out of 10, I would say my experience with eczema, it's keeping me up at night, it's very itchy, it's flaking, it's uncomfortable, it's unsightly. Out of 10, I'm feeling a 9 out of 10. I'm feeling like I'm ready to let this go. So let's see, fingers crossed.